Very good evening, everyone. Am I audible to all the debates? So again, a warm welcome and very good evening to all dignitaries, our respected resource person, Dr. R.K. Soni sir, and all delegates, faculties presented in today's live session of 3-month certificate program on research methodology and biostatistics. Today, we are again privileged to welcome our respected resource person, Dr. R.K. Soni sir, a distinguished former professor of statistics in the Department of Community Medicine, Dayanand Medical College, Ludhiana, Punjab, to deliver one more important online session on data collection tools and response structure. So please join us in extending a warm welcome to our respected resource person for today's session, Dr. R.K. Soni sir. Please, sir, welcome, sir. It's not audible. Am I audible to all delegates?
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Ajab. Sir, I'm audible to you because we are not able to hear you. Not audible, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Sir, I think please rejoin the session. Maybe there is some issue. Uh, Not audible, sir. Not audible. Your mic is open, but we are not able to hear your voice in meeting.
Oh,
Now audible, sir. Now audible.
uh,
Okay, welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
okay, if I am audible to you, hopefully everybody could listen to me. Good evening to everyone. Please start the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Good evening to everyone. Because of the technological fault, there may be some delay because that is beyond the control of the human being. Now, the topic of today's discussion is the data collection tools and response structure. Now, there may be some overlapping, there may be some background pertaining to yesterday's lecture discussion also, but that needs to be done because otherwise the continuity may not be there. Yes, next slide, please. Now, whatever study is planned, it, there are plenty type of studies which has to be done. And first thing is you have to define the research design. What is your research design? Research design, it can be qualitative, it can be quantitative. As I told you yesterday, depending upon the quality of the variable and depending upon the quantity of the variable. Quantity means the numeric and the quality means the non-numeric. But the research then can be mixed also. It can be both qualitative and both quantitative. Data is different, but design is different. Yes, next please. Now, what is when we have to do the qualitative approach? Now, when we aim to gather an in-depth understanding pertaining to attitude of the patient or attitude of the subject, values, that is concerns and belief, motivation, aspiration. All these are the qualitative variables, means these are the quality of the individual which you want to measure, and that is why we call it as a qualitative approach. Next, please. Yes. Now, in the qualitative approach, the problems are sometimes ill-defined, and where it may be difficult to or it may be inappropriate to use the quantitative method because belief, beliefs may be different. You may be believing a person, you may not be believing in a system, like that way. No, because it is a difficult to measure and it is inappropriate. Only then we assess the quality of a based on the quality of the character, the quality of the variable, motivation, motivated, not motivated. Now, how you will define motivated, how you will not define. There may be a particular scale. You approach that. If the score is less than more than 50%, it may be motivated. It may not be motivated. Altogether depends on the scale, and that becomes the qualitative. Next, please. Again, qualitative versus the quantitative. As I have told yesterday, the non-numeric and numeric, the qualitative research is narrative and non-numerical in nature. The quantitative research, it pertains to the numerical data, which you can mathematically compute and can be easily analyzed statistically. Just like yesterday, the blood pressure example is a quite clear-cut example. Either you tell the patient exact value of the blood pressure, that is 160 by 100 or 160 by 80, whatever way is the reading is there, or you tell your blood pressure is high or your blood pressure is low or your blood pressure is normal. Then that is the quality. Then you have to tell how much is the high and why it is high. And quantitative, then you how much is the figure that you are going to tell 160 by 80, and how many means you have to tell the normal value also, that the normal value is 120 by 80, but your systolic and diastolic, all these things, that is the difference you have to tell, and accordingly the treatment is to be done, whether the patient is hypertensive or whether the patient is hypotensive or whether the blood pressure is normal. Accordingly, the research pertains. Next, please. Now, in the qualitative approach, next, please. This is next, please. Method of data collections. Now, there are some tools and techniques which are available for the collection of the data. Data, again, as I told you yesterday, it is any information pertaining to a interest, whatever interest you have pertaining to a study, whatever interest you have pertaining to a variable, whatever information you get, that is data. The data is of two types, primary and secondary. Primary, yes, next, please. All this is discussed yesterday, but still it has to be discussed today also. Primary, according to the or secondary, this has to be decided as per the source. Primary data is data which is collected afresh and for the first time, that is originally in character. Secondary is the data which is already collected by someone else and it is being used by somebody else. Now see the primary data, say I have collected data for a particular study, that will be primary for me. But the same data, if you are using for your study, same data you can use, but it will become secondary for you. I am an investigator, I have collected the data, and it is a primary for the primary information for me, but the same information becomes secondary for you because you are collecting data which I have collected. You are using data which I have collected, which means a data, same data, a primary and secondary, these are the relative terms, which means the information, it altogether depends on the investigator and respondent. If the investigator is collecting data himself or herself for that purpose of, then it becomes primary. But if it is being taken by from some other source, then it becomes the secondary. Secondary is a second hand, means it is a it is already used by someone, but you are using for your own study. Next, please. Another type of classification is this grouped and ungrouped classification. Grouped is just like if you start recording the weight of the patient and you simply say that there are 9, you have recorded 9 patient record here, and you will say there are 2 persons with 55.5 kg of weight, there are 3 persons with 59.4 kg of weight, there are 2 persons with 61.7 kg of weight, and there are 2 persons with 63.9 kg of weight. You have already grouped. But if you start writing the individual observation, all the 9 observations together in one by one, 55, 55 again, 59 again, 59, and again 59, three times, then it becomes ungrouped. Sometimes for the analysis purpose, it is better if we use the individual observation, that is ungrouped data. You will get exact variation of the observation. You will get the exact values of the mean, median, mode, whatever you want to compute later on at the later stages, which means the analysis, if we want to get the absolute or correct value, or appropriate value rather, then one should use the ungrouped data. But for the purpose of presentation, yes, sometimes you may do the group data presentation also, and that is done by applying different techniques, maybe in diagrammatical manner, maybe in a tabulation manner, maybe in the graphical manner. This can be done. Next, please. Now, methods for the primary data are, yes, one is the interview, second is the focus discussion, third is the questionnaire method, another is the Delphi technique, another is the observation. And the last two ones are direct physical measurement and the use of standard tests. These are the some of the methods for collection of data of primary nature. I will just give you some brief about all these 7 techniques which are used for the collection of primary data. It will be just brief. This is a consultation. A consultant, a clinician is asking some question from the patient, and that becomes the interview type. Next, please. Face-to-face interview. This is one technique. Then it's telephone interview nowadays, telephonically also, sometimes computer-generated interview. Now, these are the 3 methods of interview, but the best method is a face-to-face method interview. Because if we want to get the actual figure, if we want to get the correct figure, if we want to get some correct information, then it is better to have a face-to-face interview, because in our setting, face-to-face gives more value instead of the other 2 methods. With this COVID, everybody has heard passed through this scenario of COVID. That scene was quite difficult, but they have given us a lot of new techniques, maybe the telephonic, maybe the online, maybe the computer assisted. All these techniques are emerged because of the COVID scenario, and this is one of the important tool of the clinician. Clinician's most important tool is the interview, because only then you can get the, it is not a guesswork, it will be the exact information in a face-to-face manner. Again, the interview can be structured or it can be unstructured. Next, please. As the name says, structured, which means you have to define the questions in a very meticulous manner. In a planned list, you should have a planned list of questions, and you can't deviate from those questions, unlikely to deviate. That is the best way to do the, because if you have planned questionnaire, you will ask those definite questions which are quite concerned with everyone. But if it's unstructured, then you have to list the issues. You can ask a question in a different way then it is on the basis of interaction only, because individual to individual it will differ then, and most oftenly it is used in the exploratory qualitative studies, when the attempt is made to raise issues rather than to provide definite answers, because viewpoints जो होते हैं ना, whatever viewpoints, that is unstructured, because then it is quite difficult to tabulate them. It is quite becomes sometimes more complex to list those issues also. That is why, if we want to have a better result, if we want to have a better recommendation, it is better to have a structured questionnaire, vis-a-vis the unstructured. Next, please. Now, then few of the points pertaining to the method. Interviewer should adopt neutral sentences towards the interviewee and their responses in order to that the bias is not introduced. We should adopt a very natural method, nothing to do with the threatening techniques or something like that. Interview should be as per the quite friendly manner. Only then you can get the real picture of the story. Otherwise, you will be able to get the biased information. Practice under supervision, especially with the video tape review of interview. Nowadays, in some of the scenarios, video recording is also done, especially when we do some clinical trials. The consent of the patient is to be taken not only in a hard copy, also videography also. Now, these type of things are nowadays have emerged for the interview scenario. Next, please. Now, this is as you are saying. Now there are 4 or 5 chairs are there. One person is standing, another is giving some lecture. Discussion is going on. This is called a next, please. This is called a focus group discussion, because a topic is given and then viewpoint from each individual is taken and thoroughly it is discussed. The topic is discussed in a thorough manner. In-depth information on concept, perception, and ideas are explored, because each human being is different individual with a different mindset, with a different IQ level. And when there is a focus group discussion, then one can gather detailed information on the concept, perceptions, and different ideas. Then it is seen the group discussion should have approximately 6 to 12%. There should not be large number of person. Then the idea is lost of group discussion. Everybody should be free to talk. Everybody should be free to give some viewpoints, and it should be spontaneous. It is nothing to that. The fellow should come well prepared with that. It should be guided by a facilitator, as you have seen the picture. There was one person standing, and the tool is a facilitator and the modern script. FGT theme should be there, and let us say start discussing about the topic. That will be the you just present the theme, and yeah, these are the some of the themes which are given in the this slide. Just like we say most commonly used antibiotic. Now name some antibiotic which are rarely used. All these type of things do come emerge with the different views, because an antibiotic may be preferred to person A, it may not be preferred for the person B. All these the scenario may be different, but once you give the theme, you will get a different points pertaining to those themes. Next, please. One thing is there, if you really want to have a good result, if you want to really have a good picture of the scenario, then the group should be homogeneous. Because if the group is going to be heterogeneous, the ideas, the viewpoints will definitely differ. Just like a homogeneity in terms of they should have a almost equal level of knowledge. They should have the same age structure should be there. The ethnicity should be the same. The culture should be same, and preferably the gender. If it is a question pertaining to that scenario, the gender should also be taken into consideration. The participant selection on the basis of some shared characteristics experience related to such topic, because if the group is going to be homogeneous, you share your experience first, and then they will come up with the scenario pertaining to that group of discussion. The discussion is planned to obtain information on participant belief, perception on a defined area of interest with open-ended questions. There is nothing like questions. You can't okay, say something in a closed manner. The viewpoint, the discussions will come up with the different points into consideration, and then finally you will be able to get some data pertaining to from the focus to discussion. Next, please. Now, questionnaire and construction of questionnaire. These questionnaire, construction of questionnaire is again it should be done very meticulously, with very carefully, with very good questions should be there. It should be very well designed to get valid and reliable responses, because that quality, if it is going to be poor, then automatically your picture of the topic, the result of the topic is going to be different, whatever is as per our hypothesis, whatever as per our objectives. So that is why it is written, it should be very well defined. Only then you can get the good questionnaire, and it should be designed in a order, in a sequential order. It should not be that the question is abruptly something new comes up. The order should also be very proper. Just like if we say age, gender, education qualification, then we start, do you have diabetics? Do you have hypertension? Then again we ask, what is your occupation? Doesn't make any sense. So you start asking the question in a very sequential manner, only then the response rate is going to be better. Next question, next please. There are some views point about the construction of the questionnaire. Now, what is the aim? What is the definition of the areas? And what are the variables to be measured? That should be taken into consideration first, because whatever is the topic of the research, that is the thing, that is the crux of the questionnaire. Then accordingly, you have to give the definition of the areas. You have to consider about the what variables we want to measure. Then a DFA, a draft is to be prepared, and that draft is to be tested then. It is just like a trial, piloted with some subjects for the proposed population, will identify ambiguities and difficulties. What happens is, once you have prepared a draft, say if we are asking something, if the question is, topic is about the antenatal mothers, then you start with a few subjects, the pilot one, only for the antenatal mothers. Go to the next slide, and that is called the pilot study, or it is called the pre-testing. The pre-testing, that is called a pilot. It is a rehearsal of the questionnaire. First you frame the questionnaire, then do the rehearsal, so that you can remove the ambiguity, you can remove the unwanted questions, or you can remove those areas which are not properly defined. Then whatever is the feedback, you redraft them, and if possible, do a second trial if required. If it is not required, then it is sufficient, and then your question is ready for the administration of the to the concerned subjects. Next, please. Now coming the question administration. It can be done self, or you can have some interviewer. You can recruit some person, or yes, self. Go ahead, please. Self administration code. If we do the ourselves, then it is cheap to benefits are. It is cheap to administer, less susceptible to the interviewer bias, and can be administered by email also, because there is nothing cost involved. We are doing for ourselves, we are doing for our purpose. I know everything, you know everything. Next is interviewer. You are recruiting some resource person. Yes, next please. The limitation is the rejection rate may be high. Oh, sorry. It is difficult to elicit the detailed responses, less control over filling the responses, and incomplete or badly fit responses may be there. Next please. Interview schedule by the interviewer. Benefits are it will be lower rejection rate. You can ask more detailed questions, and you have a greater control over filling the responses form. Because one thing is, say I gave the questionnaire to you. It is up to you, whatever you do, you fill it, or the patient whatever want to say, it fill it. Now if I start, what is your age? I will write it is 28 here. What is your qualification? I will write the fellow is graduate. I am going to write. That is the better way, because I know each and everything. And if I am interviewing, But if we give the questionnaire to the respondent, it is a respondent. You don't know what mind he is. He may be having a different mind set up. Just fill the questionnaire and just throw it to you so that whatever is the information, it can be seen later on. Then, if there were say 30 questions, it is possible the fellow may respond only 12 questions and the 18s are not responded. But in the interview, yes, there is checklist. You are going to ask each and every question. Of course, it is expensive to administer. One by one up, you have to administer. In the self, if there are 50, you gave 50 to everyone, and within 10 minutes or within 20 minutes, you can collect the data of 50. But if you have to collect the data yourself through interview technique, naturally it is going to take time, expensive to administer, most susceptible to interview bias, and it is time consuming. These are the things which has to be taken into consideration. But only thing is the rejection rate is going to be low. You can get a good response. You can get a good data also as per the requirement of the objective. Next, please. Then question format, it can be open-ended or it can be closed-ended. In open-ended, there is no predetermined list of responses schedule, but in the closed-ended, it is a predetermined list of responses. Option is there. Now, open-ended are detailed structure answers are there. It is difficult to code and difficult to analyze, and sometimes it becomes frustrating also. You may get some very funny answer also. But in the close-ended, it is option. Either it is yes or no. Either you give option 1, 2, 3, like that way. There is nothing like a choice, your only viewpoint. In the close-ended, it is easy to code and easy to analyze also. But the open-ended sometimes becomes very frustrating. With my experience, I've seen people give very funny statements, and you will not be able to even read those, publish those statements also. Next, please. Closed-ended responses. These are mutually exclusive, so that only one response is possible. Because if you are tick just the option A, it is only option A. Because in MCQ, just like there is only one. In dichotomy is yes, no, either it will be yes or no. There is nothing like third option. Or it is in the form of MCQ. There are 4 options, 1, 2, 3, 4. Only one is going to be correct. Attitude measuring scale, the scale is there, and it is going to list accordingly. The criteria of a scale is there, and it will fall only in one of the criteria. In the Likert scale, it is there 4.4 choice format. All these are the there will be only one option only. Even in the Likert scale, good, better, best, whatever is there. I have given just 3 options: good, better, or best. Good, better, or best, or if you can say poor also, then it can be either of the 4. It can't be a poor also or best also. It can't be. Then it becomes a invalid questionnaire. But scientifically, it can be either of the 4. Either it is poor, or it is good, or it is better, or it is best. Next, please. Now, this is another way, online questionnaire. Now, this technique is also being found. I have given you the example of COVID. After COVID, everything just even now also, I am discussing with you, presenting my thing online. But before that, in most of the things, it was physical only. Meeting, it is online. You are sitting in this country and you are attending the meeting in US or in Europe also, but it is online. Now, it is ease of access is through population through online approach. You can cover a very wider geographical area with a different type of setup of population also. Potential to collect huge amount of data efficiently using minimal resources and within short time frame, because there is nothing. You just send the information and you may get the response automatically. But only thing is the response rate may be less, but only emphasis is given that please send, then response rate may be increased. Next, please. Validating the questionnaire. Now, whatever questionnaire has been drafted, that needs to be validated. Validated is first is a construct is developed. A construct is nothing but is an abstract idea underlying a theme and one wish to measure the. You have defined you have prepared a questionnaire, but you are not validated. Validated, it is called a construct. Once you validate, it becomes a questionnaire. Then the question to be made, construct are selected, and appropriate responses are also formulated. Next, please. Now, testing the validity and reliability. Reliability is that whatever information you want to obtain, the ability of the instrument to produce the consistent result. Now, you have done in a district A, the same is being applied in district B, you should get the parallel result, means the consistent result should be there. If there is going to be variation, which means your tool, your question is not reliable. Validity is the ability of the instrument to produce the true result, means as per your objective, the results are being produced, and that is called the validity. This is one example, 10-item alcohol disorder identification test audit scale is there. SF36, that is the 36-item short form health survey. This is another scale to measure the quality of life, etc. These are the standard scales. If there is standard scales available, then there is nothing like reliability and validity. But if you are going to frame your questionnaire, automatically this need to be tested for reliability and validity, and there are statistical tool available which will be discussed in the workshop in one or the other way, and those tools to be applied, and then you can go ahead. Next, please. This is called Delphi technique. Delphi technique is expert opinion. Now, any questionnaire you give to 5 experts, they will give your opinion, and accordingly, if they say it is okay, fine enough. If they give some viewpoint that this question need to be changed, this question need to be changed, this need to be redrafted, include those because they are expert in their field, and that is called the Delphi method. Aim to bring about consensus on a given issue. Delphi, uh, only thing is that they are expert in their field, and you are getting viewpoint from pertaining to that your questionnaire, and then you are bound to include those viewpoints, suggestions, corrections, or advice, whatever they have given, so that it becomes a correct way. But in this, again, Delphi, it can be a physical connection, it may not be physical connection. You can send it through online, or you can just request the person in person also. Next, please. Next is the diagram which I have shown. Instead of asking about the rejection safety practice, one may himself took to the sport. Advantage of this is subjective bias is eliminated. Now the fellow is sitting in some other part of the country, and you are asking about the Delphi through the Delphi method. What is currently happening, that they will tell an independent respondent willingness to respond because they are going to respond independently. Nothing you are they are not under pressure because they are expert in their own field. Next, please. Now, coming to the anthropometric measurement and the clinical examination. Now, sometimes the anthropometric measurements has to be done in pertaining to that study. Now, just like weight, height, LFTs, etc., etc., blood pressure measurement, pulse rate, pulse measurement, temperature measurement. See, these are the some of the things, the clinical and the anthropometric. Beside that, there are plenty of head circumference, chest circumference, like that way there are plenty of other anthropometric which should be done. But only my contention is whatever anthropometric and clinical examinations are done, they should be very well defined how you are going to measure the weight, by which technique you are going to measure the weight, which machine you are going to use, height, how you are going to measure the height. It should be done similar in a similar practice for all the individuals which you are going to include in the study. Similarly, if you are going to do the blood pressure measurement, temperature measurement, whether you are measuring the temperature, if you are using the blood pressure, whether it is electronic instrument or whether it is a manual instrument or whether it is a handcuff instrument, whatever instrument you're using, you have to define it very meticulously how you are going to measure it, coming sitting for 5 minutes, keeping the arm straight, like that way. You have to give all the operational definition for correct measurement of the anthropometry and clinical examinations. Next, please. Now, if there are some biochemical, microbiological, or pathological investigations to be done, then it is better if you use the standardized techniques, standardized kits, say, and it should be the same kit should be used for the whole experiment, because the value do changes depending on the type of kit. Say, just like by biochemical parameter, HB, urine culture, etc. So whatever you want to do, I have given a journal: biochemical investigation, pathological, microbiological, histopathological, whatever investigations are there. The kit should be standard, and based on those standardized kit, one should do the testing, and that kit should remain the same, preferably. Yes, if there is a chance that the kit is not available, or the kit has been banned by the government, or the kit has been stopped manufacturing by the agency, then the things has to be done in a different way. But again, you at your level can't change the kit. The proper permission to change the kit with the from the appropriate authority of your institution, including your research guide or research, that has to be taken. Otherwise, it is of not a good way. Next, please. Then this collection of the secondary data that I have already told, the whatever information we have done so far, methods discussed, that was the primary. Secondary is collected by someone. It is lying somewhere in the files. It may be lying somewhere in the government agencies, even the NFHS, National Family Health Survey data. There are a series of National Family Health Surveys, and the data is readily available. You can pay to the government agency and get the data, and accordingly you can do the analysis. There are research publications, research journals, thesis is lying in different libraries. You can use those also. That is also secondary data. Again, in the hospital setting, there are different registers. OPD registers are there, indoor files are there, indoor cards are there, for admission, discharge, laboratory registers are there. Whatever you are not collecting, the things are already lying somewhere. But you are just using those data for your own research. That these are the different techniques available or used, or we can collect the data in a second for the secondary. Next, please. Secondary advantages are easy to collect because it is already collected by someone. You just copy paste. It is less expensive. Nowadays, the trend of copy paste is too much. It is easy to collect in a short time, less expensive, but only disadvantage is the many of the records. Say you want to test the HB and you want to correlate it with the gender and the age. Now, sometimes age may be there, sometimes gender may not be there, sometimes both are there, which means some information may be incomplete. Many records might be missing, incomplete, or may not be appropriate because they have collected for their own purpose, but your objective is different. Now, you can't trust upon that because authenticity of data. There is some scenario of copyright also. Now, if the data is available, we can't use those, just like even the ready-made scales are there. The scale has been constructed, or scale has been used by someone, and he or she has prepared that scale. He has given it as a copyright. Then you have to take the permission from the author that is, please permit me to use the data. If you only then you can use the data. Otherwise, you will end up in trouble if there is a copyright issue. Next, please. That's all which I want to share with you for today's presentation. Thank you very much. Any question, any query, point of discussion for today's topic, you are welcome.
Thank you so much, sir, for explaining all things about response structure and collection methods, how to collect data. And I request to all delegates, if there is any doubt regarding to this session, then please clarify your doubt. Because we are day by day, we are moving towards the analysis parts. And before that, we need to clear the basic fundamentals of the doing analysis. Before analysis, we need to clear all basic fundamentals. And tomorrow we have one more topic that is on the data quality, how to maintain data quality and how to prepare a master chart that will be delivered by Dr. Atul Juneja, sir. So, and after that, we move towards the descriptive statistics and inferential statistics, and then some hands-on session with the SPSS and Excel in this month before completing the program. So if there is any doubt regarding today's session, you can clarify, because this is the most important topic, that how you collect data through your questionnaire. If there is any doubt, you can clarify here. We are open for 2 or 3 minutes here. And thank you everyone for positive feedbacks in the chat box. You can unmute, you can write your query in the chat box. Any method as per your convenience you can choose. Thank you, Dr. Ankush, Dr. Mamta. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you everyone. If there is no question, probably everybody has understood this simple topic.
Yes.
And hopefully you should be able to use this technique in a one or the other way in your research or in a day-to-day activity of scientific activity, whatever you want to do. And if there is no question, should I say thank you to everyone? Amit?
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. And thank you, everyone. If there is any doubt remaining, you can WhatsApp me. I will contact with sir and I will revert you as soon as possible. You can mail us your queries also, as earlier done. So thank you again, sir, for your time and valuable contribution, sharing expertise and experience with all delegates in this 3-month program. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence in this program.
Okay, goodbye everyone and enjoy your time.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining and hearing patiently. And this is the end of today's session. Tomorrow we start at 6 p.m. That is the title is data quality and master chart preparation. So be on time. Tomorrow's session will start at 6 p.m. sharp, and that will be delivered by Dr. Atul Juneja, sir. Thank you. Thank you everyone again.